friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to the episode of the Weekly Playlist. It's Friday, so it's time to share with you guys the games I have been playing during the last week. This actually will be for the last 2 weeks because I wasn't able to get a video film last week. Just got off of being on vacation for 8 days, and I had an absolute blast. I just was busy doing a whole lot of stuff, did a lot of game hunting, spending time with family, playing a lot of great games, and I just overall enjoyed myself not having to be at work, which is always a good thing because my job can be stressful at times, and I love not having to be there and be able to relax and spend time with family and play games and stuff. So we'll start off here with the game. This past Monday, my buddy Grant was able to come out for another retro gaming night, and we've been continuing our work on Donkey Kong 64. I've mentioned this before, that this is a fantastic Donkey Kong game for the Nintendo 64. It's the only 3D adventure Donkey Kong game that we ever got that followed in the footsteps of the Donkey Kong Country series. I really wish they would either do an HD remake of this or create a new 3D adventure Donkey Kong game, because it was really fun. You have 5 different Kongs to choose from. You have Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Tiny Kong, Lanky Kong, who's my favorite of the Kongs, and Chunky Kong. They all have their own different power-ups and different abilities that you can unlock, and you need them all to get different bananas for you in order to beat the game. Really good game though. I really like the story and definitely recommend you guys check it out. Do have to warn you though that there are some annoying and difficult parts to this game. The camera sometimes can work against you. Some of the mini games barely give you enough time to beat them. Like there was one we finally had beat called Beaver Bother, where you would play as a little Kremling alligator, and you have to run around and scare the beavers into this hole. 15 of them in like 60 seconds, and just could not figure it out. And then I looked up a video where a guy was like, you have to run to the side of them, and that probably did like 40 tries in like a half hour, and I finally beat that stupid level, and I felt so happy about it. And then when it was trying to get to the golden banana you unlocked, because there's a little grate where you have air blowing up, like you just want to go up high enough, and I had to fight with that for like 5 minutes, and it finally got up there and collected a banana. But I was going to be pissed if I had to redo that again. I was not looking forward to doing that. My buddy Grant beat one of the beetle races. There's this annoying beetle in the game you have to race a couple of times, who's really difficult. He did the one with Lanky Kong in the ice, and you have to run around, collect 50 coins, and then beat him in the race, which can be difficult. And there was a few times the camera angle like screwed up and glitched. He was going down a ramp flying in the air, and all of a sudden the camera turned back, and then he hit a wall and fell into the lava, which was annoying. Took about 45 minutes, but he finally beat that part. So, overall, it's a really good game, but there are little difficult spots like that in the game, where some of these mini games are just really, really hard. The design on them was not done really well, so definitely a game could have used more polish. But since this is one of the earlier 3D adventure games for the Nintendo 64, a lot of the games on the 64 kind of suffered from camera angles and gameplay issues at times. But overall, it's a really enjoyable game. If you got the 64, you never played Donkey Kong 64, recommend you pick up a copy. Very, very fun game, and we've been having a blast with it, and I'm hoping that we can beat this by the end of the year. We want to get all 200 golden bananas and 100% it, but we're already into October, and he can't always get out here all the time on Mondays, so we may have to keep playing this into next year, but we'll see. So having a blast with that. Next game I've been playing for the Xbox One, continuing my adventure on this, is Ghostbusters, a video game remastered, which I love this game. My absolute favorite Ghostbusters game of all time. This is basically the third Ghostbusters movie we never got. Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd wrote the story for this. You had all 4 Ghostbusters in the game that voiced them. You got Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Bill Murray reprising their roles as the 4 Ghostbusters. You play as the new recruit who joins the Ghostbusters, and you have to help them capture ghosts and save the city from the evil Shandor. And I really love that this ties in the first 2 Ghostbusters movie here in the third one, and all the events in those are explained here in the third game, and it continues the story, which is really cool. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man's in the game. That's a really fun boss battle in the very first section. I'm now halfway done with this game. Got about like 5.5 hours into the game already. Got most of the collectibles because I do have my Ghostbusters strategy guide, which still works for this game. I absolutely love this when this game was first released in 2009, and I had to get the HD remake when I heard it was announced because it was only $30. Really good game. Just know though this is exclusive to GameStop, so if you guys want a physical copy, you can only get them at GameStop. You can get an Xbox One, PlayStation 4, or the Nintendo Switch. Absolutely loving this game though. It's really fun. If you like Ghostbusters and you want to basically see the third movie, buy this game because this is pretty much the third movie we never got, an interactive movie. It has a really good story, great graphics, and it's really fun gameplay, and I highly recommend it. They did take out the multiplayer that was in the 2009 release, but they did say that in the future here they're supposed to release a new multiplayer mode and add it to the game. So we'll see how that is, because I did like the multiplayer back in the day. It was really fun playing with other players, but really good story. I think you guys should check out. If you ever played the 2009 one, this is the great HD remake of it. Great to pick it up and play through it again. And if you never experienced before, pick up a copy and try it out and see how it is, because it's a really fun game. Controls similar to like a Gears of War type of game, third person shooters. Have to use the proton pack, and instead of having ammo to reload, your pack will overheat and you just have to vent it. But there's all kinds of different upgrades. There's 4 different kinds of abilities you can use with your pack, and as you play the game, you unlock them. You also earn money as you capture ghosts, and then you can use that money to turn into upgrading your character and making the abilities stronger, because you will need them as you get further in the game, because that is one thing I do have to warn you. This game does get very difficult the further along you get in the game, and there can be some really difficult spots in the game in some areas, which was a complaint when the game was first released in 2009 that actually did not fix in this. Is there are some bad checkpoints where you can go through a long place, you get knocked down, the computer gets knocked down, so you can't be revived, and you fail, and you have to start all the way over from that long checkpoint in some difficult spots. So they do have some issues like that, but overall, very enjoyable game, and I'm looking forward to beating this a few times, getting it beat on all the difficulties, and getting all the achievements and collectibles, because I did that for the 2009 version on the 360. Fantastic game. Think you guys should check it out. And the last game I've put a lot of time into the last couple weeks is Tokyo Extreme Racer Zero. Absolutely love this game. It's a really fun racer. It's really cheap too, like $4 or $5 title. You run around the highways of Tokyo, and you have to street race other racers. And there are like 400 enemies in the game, and the enemies belong to various gangs that are roaming around. Some are called like Little Gang. There's all kinds of different fun names. The Cupid's Arrows, and there's all these different little gangs in the game racing around. And some have like 5 drivers, 6 drivers, 8 drivers, 9 drivers. And you have to beat all the racers in that gang, and then their leader will challenge you, and you beat him, and you beat that gang, and you just keep moving on. There's also really strong enemies called Wanderers, so they're just like random enemies in the game driving around that don't really affiliate with anybody, but they can take certain requirements. Sometimes they want you to drive a certain car, or they're out at a certain time, or you have to have certain upgrades in your vehicle in order to race them. And there's also these 13 Devils guys in a gang that are really, really difficult that you have to battle, and beating them will unlock parts for your car, and will actually unlock other sections of the highway, because you only start off with one little section, and then you get a second section, a third section, a fourth section, and then like a fifth section as you get through the game. Really fun. I've beat 67 guys so far. I've made it to the second area and put a lot of time in this game. That's another thing just to know, that this is an arcade racer. There are some drifting mechanics in the game. But there's no like damage or anything to your car. Like you can hit curbs and stuff and you don't get damaged, because it is an arcade racer, so it's not a realistic racer. But it's a really fun racing series that I think you guys should try out. Definitely will enjoy it. And like I said, it's pretty cheap at only $4. Everybody, you and the enemies each have it's called an SP bar. You'll run in order to initiate a race. You race around the highways. You'll pull up behind a car, and you'll flash your lights, and that'll start a race. And the whole object is to get ahead of your opponent and drain their SP bar. The further ahead you are, the faster their bar will deplete. Same thing with the enemy against you, and you earn money for your victories. You also earn a little bit of money even if you lose, and then you can turn around and use that money to upgrade your car, because you need that money to upgrade your car, because you will not stand a chance unless you upgrade your car, because the enemies keep getting stronger as you get through the game, and they have better cars, and you have to constantly keep grinding, upgrading your car, and then buying new cars. And a really cool feature is when you beat certain racers, you unlock their car for you to buy in the car shop. And there's a couple hundred cars in the game, ranked from class A, B, and C. Where A is the best, B's like the middle, and C's the worst. I just recommend just start with a class A car and just go from there and keep upgrading there and get another class A car. If you get a B and C, you really are at a disadvantage, and it can make the game really difficult. I started with a B car the first time I played the game, played it for a couple hours, and just was having an absolute chore playing it, hard time. So I decided to start over with a class A car, and I had a much easier time, and I'm having a blast. I currently have $100,000 saved up, which I'm saving up money now because like my first car that I bought is upgraded pretty well and it's handling well. And I'm not sure if I want to keep upgrading this car or save my money and buy a new car and start upgrading that. So that's something I'm looking into. But it is a fun racer. Definitely recommend you guys check it out. It's one that you can play, little spouts here and there. It's all about at night racing. Fantastic game. The music is also really good too. The Tokyo Extreme Racer series always had really fantastic music, and I'm having a blast with it. And I think you guys should check it out. So I'll give you guys a quick little recap. I talked about Donkey Kong 64, great 3D adventure Donkey Kong game for the 64, and the only one we ever got. Fun title. Just know that there are some difficult parts in the game with some mini games and the camera angles that sometimes can be difficult, but overall, very enjoyable game. We talked about the Ghostbusters of the video game remastered. This is the remastered version of the 2009 Ghostbusters game, which is essentially the third movie we never got. Has a fantastic story. You play as a new recruit with the 4 original Ghostbusters. They all voice the characters. The story was written by Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd, and it's just an amazing game, and it just feels like a Ghostbuster game should, and definitely think you guys should check it out. And then we also talked about Tokyo Extreme Racer Zero, a fantastic Tokyo Extreme Racing game. You run around the streets of Tokyo in various Japanese cars, race your opponents and beat them, and it's just a fun little arcade racer I think you guys should check out. So let me know if you guys have played the Donkey Kong 64, the new Ghostbusters remaster, or Tokyo Extreme Racer Zero. I'd also like to hear what games you guys have been playing lately, and if you have any recommendations on games you think I should check out, let me know, because you guys always suggest really fun games. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care, have a wonderful day, and Sleepy will see you next time.